Hey, what's up YouTube, Scabbage here, and we're back on day 6 of our 100 player Let's Play Just Fun Game series. So, if we have a look around and we just get started with the newspaper like we normally do, we'll see that we have actually risen up the scoreboards a little bit, and I expect to jump a little bit higher today. So, we're in 17th at the moment, and I expect that pretty soon we will jump up, and we probably won't make the top 10, but I mean, we're going to jump by like 7 points-ish, so hopefully make the top 15. At least that's the goal. In terms of our economy at the moment, we currently have the 12th biggest economy, which is pretty good for our size, so that means we're up there as well. So we're actually doing pretty good in here. Not much has really happened. We've finished off Australia, nearly. One more city. I could have this captured by now, but when I woke up a few hours ago, I forgot to set these troops into motion, so they're only attacking now. So I doubt I will get this captured before day change. Yeah, not going to happen. I'm not going to kill that within the next hour. So, you know, wishful thinking. If I had have marched them straight away, they would have been there fighting for 4 hours by now, and they could have done the job. So a little bit of an error on my part, but hey, you can't win them all. So if we have a look around Australia at the moment, we can see that we've basically cleaned up this whole area. There's nothing left. We've got some infantry that's just moving to position to back up that infantry if it is needed. When we captured this, there was a light tank under construction, and if another light tank pops up in here, we will have a hard time defeating that. So we're going to have to work around that and make sure we have some reinforcements available. Now we are leaving troops behind in these cities to make sure they don't rebel. I'm not too concerned if any other provinces rebel, but I really want to hold the cities, especially considering I'm building industrial complexes and training troops in them. So I definitely don't want to lose them with the amount of resources I have invested. If we have a look at what we're producing at the moment in terms of troops, our economy is actually doing pretty good. Food's going to need some work. Goods is on the up. This is way better than what I was doing last game, and I don't even have as many VPs as I did then. So production, great at the moment. Iron production, even better. Oil's on the up, and so is raw material, and money's just money. You'll probably notice too that I have quite a lot of resources compared to where we were yesterday. We'll get to that in a second and how I managed to acquire all of those. But on that note, I need 32,000 for spies, and I don't have enough money. Go into the food, and let's sell some of that. So we need about 10,000. But we can spare some extra food. Then we can buy some other resources. Let's do that. Sweet as. So now the money we need for spies, and that's all good right there. So like I said, we were coming into here to have a look at what we were building. As you can see, we're building 4 ships at the moment. Well, submarines. Are submarines classified as ships? I mean, is there even a classification for ship? Anyway, we're building 3 submarines, 1 destroyer. The reason we're building a destroyer is because last time we checked, there was a submarine, Western Australian submarine, parked up in this port right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a destroyer, and then probably get one of these submarines to come back down, spot it out, hit it, and then we'll bomb it out once the destroyer is ready. So that's what's happening there. We can also see that we're working on our sub-war down here, so this is where the other submarines are going to go when they're completed. As we can see, I've already set their rally points with high command, so they move into position when they get there. I really want to get this sub-wall all the way up to Papua New Guinea, and then I can start constructing one down here. So I am going to really start focusing on my navy. Once I capture this city here and this city here as well, I'm going to upgrade the naval bases. So obviously with this one here, once I finish the infantry and get that industrial complex upgraded to level 2, I'm going to upgrade the naval base and start producing more submarines so I can get those naval defenses up in time. Being an island, it's really important that we have a good naval defense. I'm going to be sending a lot of my troops north, and I mean a lot of my troops north, so I need to make sure I have defenses in place to spot enemy ships and make sure I don't get absolutely murdered. We can also see that I am training some infantry. That's just to fill a spot while I construct some stuff. Now this infantry piece here is just going to act as reinforcements, and it's going to move up into Papua New Guinea with the rest of the troops and reinforce later on. And I'm also building some artillery, and that's just to get me to my goal of 16 artillery pieces, which will be split into 4 groups of 4. And if we come into here, we can see that the last 3 to be built are in the build queue, and they'll be done within the day at most. So once those are done, I am working on level 2 air bases, but in the meantime, while they finish constructing, I am going to produce a wave of anti-aircraft guns. I am also producing interceptors at the moment. That's because I'm really behind on my Air Force, so I'm pumping these out, as you would have seen here as well. I've got quite a few lined up, so Wellington over the next couple of days is just pumping out aircraft after aircraft after aircraft, which is probably what it should be doing. Now we're also building a lot. We're building a little bit in Australia to upgrade our runway network. Once we capture Tasmania and we get an airbase built in Greymouth, I believe it was. Yeah, once we get an airbase built in there, we'll be able to fly planes down to here, and then with a quick range upgrade or two, they'll be able to fly into Tasmania, then into Australia. Either that, or I have to get an aircraft carrier. Now, nothing wrong with getting an aircraft carrier, but at the moment we don't have the ports to do that, so it seems like a better option to do this. And even then, aircraft carrier can be sunk, but it's a lot harder to shoot down a runway. So we've got these troops heading over. They're just going to group up in Tasmania, and then they will start bombing out Tasmanian troops, and it should be a pretty easy one. Get some rear out of it, get some metal. If it doesn't rebel beforehand, I mean, it's got no food production. I kind of feel sorry for the Tasmanians right now. I mean, no Australians to feed them. So that's the plan right there. In terms of our economy, I guess that's where we were before, but we got distracted by the air bases. So carrying on with our economy, we are building quite a few upgrades to industrial complexes. The reason we're building upgrades to industrial complexes, especially in these ones here, is just the speed of the production. So I really want to speed up our production more so we become less reliable on barracks. At the moment, food's down, but I am spending a lot of money maintaining these barracks to give a 25% increase to the construction of troops. And although that is a pretty bloody good boost, there are more better ways and cheap ways to do it. So we try to get that done as soon as possible. So more air bases down here to get to level 2, so we can start producing tactical bombers. That's going to be another biggie. Like I said, our Air Force is really underdeveloped at this point. And then upgraded ports. We need upgraded ports so we can start producing cruisers. I already have cruisers research, and I'm going to need them heavily in the coming days, and I'll explain that later on. We're also building infrastructure in our core to really max out that production. Once we get the infrastructure done, we can start looking at and considering building industrial complexes in our core, and that'll be the next place. So building an industrial complex in here, and then in the iron producing provinces, food producing provinces, oil producing provinces, and getting all of those producing at max capacity. Once we get those producing at max capacity, I'll be pretty keen to fortify the whole of New Zealand and move my capital into Australia. Doing that should balance up morale and really maximize my production. So in terms of fighting at the moment and what we're doing with our troops, you can see that we've got a pretty ragtag, messy group of troops marching into Papua New Guinea. Now, normally this is a recipe for disaster when you attack like this. Like, I mean, Jesus, that would be so easy to shoot down. An interceptor could work through that there in like a matter of hours before it disembarked. So wouldn't recommend this, but Papua New Guinea is inactive, so he's not going to do anything until I attack him. Even then, his interceptors will be out of range, and he has no artillery in the area to do anything. So I'm pretty confident that once my artillery starts landing, I can just start bombarding the capital, and from there I can just move in and slowly work my way around with artillery, bombing things out, moving in, then carrying on just like that. So the hard part about taking on Papua New Guinea is going to be these islands over here. Once we get Papua New Guinea, though, we don't have many options, which leads me to why I'm producing so many goddamn troops at the moment, and that is this guy here. Now, taking him out could be, I'm a little unsure at the moment. It could be an easy one, it could be a hard one. His rank and his stats suggest it could be a very hard one. Like, I mean, his KD isn't too good, but he's good at holding onto land. I think that's even better than my stats for holding onto land. No, mine are better. Anyway, so statistically speaking, I should be able to beat him in a one-on-one. But the problem is, it's never as easy as a one-on-one. As we can see, National China is claiming land in the area, taking out this inactive player right here. And they are in the same coalition. Now, there isn't a coalition flag below them because they're very cunning and sneakily don't have one. So if we... where are they on here? There they are. If we come into here, we can see that they are in fact actually the biggest coalition in the game right now. And taking them on by myself is going to be pretty hard. Fortunately though, if I can get to attacking them soon, I'll have the... well, not really the help, but they're already at war with my ally Korea. And Korea has taken quite a heavy beating from this and is basically actually given up, which is a little disappointing, but I mean, considering when your enemy's using gold, it's hard, and it really is. But as we can see, this group here is actually doing really well. It was attacked by 14 troops, but because his enemy, I mean, gold doesn't buy your skill, guys. Like, I mean, 14 troops attacked 7 in a fortified location. They all stumbled in at different times and really got themselves absolutely hammered by a group of 7 covered by 8 artillery. So, you know, gold doesn't buy skill, just troops. You still have to know how to use them. So although this guy here was able to gold away most of Korea's army, he has definitely ran into some problems since. Now, at the same time though, he is starting to regroup, and hopefully he is able to regroup successfully Korea and then can counterattack, but raiding units like this are making that hard. He's pretty certain he's had enough, so I mean, he could start producing troops in his cities, but he's pretty much given up, which is kind of disheartening. Like, I know what it's like to be utterly defeated, but you know, he still stands a pretty good chance if he wants to take it. So they're fighting up there at the moment, and Korea's other allies, my allies, are also moving down to get into position. So this should keep both sides busy for quite a while. And obviously while they're fighting over here, they're not going to be overly committed to fighting down here, which is good. And if our latest movements from our spies confirm anything, it does definitely look as if there is fighting in this region over here. Although I don't think these two are fighting. They were fighting, but I'm pretty sure they returned to peace. So basically what we want to see is, we want to see these guys, these 4 players here, fighting as many wars at the same time, and then I can just slip in and hopefully knock this guy out. All I have to do to achieve that is to move in and just take his core. Once he takes his core, he'll fall apart pretty easily. Now at this point, he doesn't have many ports. He only has the one, and although from one port he could easily produce a force to counter what I have in the region, in the long term we're going to be easily able to outproduce him. So once we take out Papua New Guinea, we capture the resources here, we should be able to take it like a piece of cake. Shouldn't run into any issues there. So that's the plan going forward. So now we basically did a quick look over Asia, so I mean, I'll just move on past that, and we'll move on down into Africa, where we can see Egypt is making some progress. Now, from talking to him, he's pretty busy at the moment, and despite how busy he is, he's actually making some really good grounds. Now, he is up against some inactive players, but considering how active he is, I'm surprised some of the more active players in the region have not moved in to take them out. We move up into Europe, we can see that Romania is still making some major gains and is finally getting around to cleaning up Bulgaria. He is currently, I think, the biggest player in the game. Okay, he fell back. So second biggest player in the game. So he is doing pretty well, but at the moment he's just falling back, regrouping and building up his forces. Same with Italy, King Congo. He's had some pretty big days over the last few days, battling away, and he's making some awesome progress as well. Actually, how many troops does he have? He must have a lot by now. Yeah, 45, and I think I'm roughly high, yeah, so I'm on 40. So 40 is pretty good considering I fucked up badly and lost a lot of troops unnecessarily, so I'll be looking to get some redemption for that. But at the moment I'm producing from every industrial center I currently control, so I'll easily be pumping out 9 troops a day in no time. If we have a quick look over South America, we can see that this guy here is definitely cleaning up. There is a little bit of contest between him and South Argentina. North Argentina seems to be doing some work as well, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in this region. I'm not entirely sure how it will play out. As usual, South Mexico has taken out North Mexico and claimed Central America. Rog, New England, is pushing forwards and has captured all of New England. I believe he's allied with Illinois, potentially. Yeah, he is. So at the moment they're in pretty good hands, and they're just facing that way. I think Quebec might be allied with them too, though I'm not entirely sure about that one. I could be wrong. So at the moment they're basically just heading west, and they'll take out a lot of land as they head that way as well. The only person in the area that might be able to challenge them at this point is California, and I don't know what relation they have with California, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So we've basically gone around the world, and we'll end it back here. So the next couple of days I'm going to take out Papua New Guinea, and then I'm going to have to start a war with this guy. I don't really want to, but I'm going to have to. I don't really have an option. If I want to keep moving, want to keep getting powerful, it's better to attack now while he has no navy, and I can suppress him, capture his core unopposed, and get it done that way. So the reason I am actually going through Papua New Guinea first is to capture land, but to also give myself a time to build my forces. I actually don't have all that many troops, and the troops I do have are not necessarily in the best condition. And as we can see there, I don't even have any anti-air, and that is a major issue. Now, one of the reasons... Actually, I might have some anti-air up here. Do I? Please have some anti-air? Okay, so I thought I had some anti-air somewhere. Obviously, I do not, so I definitely need to put that top of my priority list. So after my artillery stun, I'll start producing anti-air, and then that can regroup with the troops coming out of Papua New Guinea, and then they can move forwards and take it out. Now, I'm not too concerned at this point, because as we can see, looking at Papua New Guinea, he does not have much at all. I mean, he hasn't built any extensions to his runway network, so he's unlikely to have much of an air force as well, which makes it concerning if he's just been focusing on his army. That will make defeating him pretty goddamn hard. So that's the plan right there. But as soon as his allies in the north finally catch on, get attention, they're going to send aircraft down, and then I'll need to make sure I have anti-aircraft guns at that point, or else I'm just going to get hammered. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.